Hello, everyone. I am going to take you through film analysis, which has a very specific way of going about things. So it's similar to literary analyses, which a lot of you may have done before, but I'm going to take you through each element here. So let's take a look. First of all, make sure to read the prompt. It is on our Canvas page. I will send it out in announcements too, but make sure that you know, first of all, what you're answering. So there'll be several different choices, but just make sure that you know which one you are specifically answering, and then make sure to stay with that topic. Um, Next, determining your argument. Make sure that you're studying whatever film that you're going to be talking about, or films. If you're going to talk about more than one, probably just one would be good. But you want to choose one specific style of animation and why you think it's the best. So you may want to choose a representative of that. You could talk about more than one in that genre. But if you want to talk about 3D animation, then you would be talking about Pixar and that kind of thing. Or if you want to talk about anime, then you can talk about Spirited Away or any other anime films. If you want to talk about stop motion, Pinocchio and Marcel the Shell. But I do want you to stick with the things that we've talked about in this unit. And of course, if you want to talk about the graphic style, you can talk about the new Spider-Verse series and that new look of animation. So just pick one of those genres and then talk about it. And you can use any of the stuff that we've looked at and read and watched over the course of this unit as part of your sources, but make sure that you've got that on there. When we view a film, we often come away with a reaction to it. So think about, did you hate it? Did it make you cry? Did it make you laugh? Did it perplex you? That's a good starting point, and try to figure out why. Why did you have that kind of reaction? But that isn't what the analysis is. This is an analysis, not an evaluation. So this is not whether or not you liked it. It's not a review. This is an analysis of what it shows. So why is this specifically the best form of animation? So it's going to take some analysis there and some opinion. So, and you want to go further. So what does it say and what does it do? And why does that make it the best form of animation? So you want to think about that a bit. What elements make up the film? So if you want to talk about the graphic elements, we've studied a lot of different things. Is it the BAMs and that kind of thing? Is it the kind of geometrical elements? Is it the street art kind of look? Whatever it is that you want to talk about, think about those elements and why does that contribute to it being the best form of animation. How do these elements work together? If you want to talk about stop motion, talk about how long it takes to make them, how they can be more realistic, how they can convey emotion and all that kind of thing. Does this film lead you to think or feel a certain way, and how? Definitely, for example, anime is usually very complex themes. They might be very adult themes. So does that lead you to, think about life in some way? Pixar films can do the same thing. So, all of that, kind of consider that. And how does it fit in with the particular genre? So I do want you to, like I said, choose one form of animation and argue why it's the best one. So you're going to specifically choose either the graphic style of the Spider-Verse, or anime, or stop motion, or 3D like Pixar. Maybe 2D, which would be the old classic Disney films, but probably one of the others would be easier to argue about and more to find. So. The film itself, think about the development and the expression of themes, characters, setting. You want to consider all of that. And how does that make it a superior form of animation? So that's what you're looking for there. How do they help to create the overall tone or effect for which you're arguing? Again, you're going to need to analyze that and watch the film. You may need to look at the film as a whole or specific parts. So you may want to look at the film as a whole and say, okay, there's this one theme that makes it, particularly superior. Or is it the specific parts, like the graphic elements, for example, in the Spider-Verse, that makes it particularly superior to other forms of animation? You'll need to describe scenes and characters. So this is going to be really important, and it's going to require you to look back at the film, to go through it. It is going to take some time, and you do need specific scenes, specific characters, specific descriptions. It can't just be like a vague overall general description. You need to go back through and pick specific scenes that you can analyze and talk about that reinforce your argument. So and you need to narrate those specific scenes. So you need to figure out, in other words, you need to explain the context. And you're writing to a reader that has not seen the film. So you're going to need to kind of set things up, explain things, that kind of thing. Your response as a viewer, like I said, explore the way the film affected you or developed meaning for you as a viewer. That's going to inform why you think it's a superior form of animation, but it's not your overall argument. And then closely examine each scene and character. Scenes and characters contribute to that. So is there something about the characters, about the scenes, about the way it's shot, all that kind of stuff that's making you feel like it's the better form? How does it lead you to a set of responses? So, if, for example, you're talking about the Spider-Verse, is it more exciting, more interesting, more engaging because of the graphic elements? If you're talking about anime, is it the situations that create that? If you're talking about 3D, is Pixar combining sort of the depth of the characters and the storytelling, in addition to the sort of 3D complexity of the look of the characters, whatever you think there. Context, like I said, you're definitely going to need to analyze the film as part of a larger context. So, as a part of the genre of animation, that's what we're specifically looking at here. You are going to probably need to watch this film more than once. So it's because you're going to be analyzing it. You're going to need to stop and start it. You're going to need to, like I said, pick specific scenes, write them down, all that kind of stuff, because you're going to need those as evidence as you make your arguments. Focus on details, even a single detail that shows up more than once. Repetition might be showing something. Why is it there? What can it mean? How does it affect our viewing? You also need an arguable thesis. So again, this is an analysis, not an evaluation. So you're not saying that Spirited Away is a great film, which it is for sure, but you're not saying what you think of it. It's not a review. You're not evaluating it. What you're doing is analyzing why is it the best example of this form of animation, and why does that make this form of animation the superior form? That's what you're looking for. So it is a form of argument. It should be specific, limited, and open to potential disagreement. There needs to be someone on the other side that would say, no, I don't agree with that. So it has to be argumentative. Again, it should be analytical, not evaluative, meaning you're analyzing and not saying whether you liked it or not. So here's a poor example. You don't want to say something like anime is a cool form of animation, or I really liked it. That's not what we're looking for here. What we're looking to see is, why is this the superior form of animation? What is it about this film, or more than one film if you want, that within a specific style that makes it this a superior form of animation? Here's a better one. Adult themes and situational complexity make anime the superior form of animation. So if you wanted to write about anime, and you can say whatever you want, but that's just an example of how you can make it more complex and more analytical. Analysis. So what images, similes, or metaphors are used? What's their effect on the meaning? What patterns of imagery or plot do you see? Is something repeated? If something is repeated, why? What precedes significant scenes and follows them, and what does that say in terms of the overall setup of those scenes? How does the experience of watching the film affect its meaning? What characters, plot points, images, or scenes connect to a larger context, and how do they contribute to your interpretation? So again, you're not saying, I like the Spider-Verse because it's really cool and it looks really neat. That's not what we're talking about here. It does, and it is really cool. I totally agree with you, but that's not what we're doing here. We're saying, why does it make it a superior form of animation? So that's what you're looking for. Evidence, again, you need to discuss how the film creates or expresses a theme with evidence. So either the imagery, the action, the graphics, the characters, could be anything or any combination of those things, but that's kind of what you're going to be looking for here. You need a specific purpose that's going to kind of carry you throughout the essay. So show that you've examined the film carefully. You're going to have to really know this film. So pick one that you really, really get and like. Or maybe several if you wanted to do like both of the Spider-Verse films or something like that or whatever, but make sure that you know them really well. That should come through in your essay. Offer your own argumentative interpretation that also answers the assignment prompt. So make sure that you have an interpretation of why this is the superior form of animation, and that it also answers the prompt in some way. Again, like I said, your audience, you're writing to a reader that has not seen the film that you're discussing. You'll need to provide context for any character or scene. So here are some examples. So one for character here, it says, using his standard thread of the loss of self is a way that Mr. Miyazaki brings a sense of peril to Chihiro. And during her adventures, a little piece of Chihiro is chipped away at every turn. She's renamed by Yubaba and learns later that if she doesn't hide her real name away, she'll lose her identity forever. And her whininess gradually disappears as she learns responsibility. So this you can see as an analysis of that character. And it's not just talking about she's a cool character or something like that. Setting. The beauty of the animation, a skillful blend of hand-painted foreground and well-placed something there, background, works to generate the storytelling. It makes all the characters distinct in appearance, distinguishing them from looking as if they're drifting a couple of inches above the ground. So here we're talking about the setting. You could be analyzing a lot of different things here. Let's take a look at, again, at interpretation. We'll look at a couple of other examples here. So demonstrate the plausibility of your thesis using evidence from the film, discuss specific scenes or characters, write to a reader that has not seen the film. So explain the scene context or character, analyze the character or the scene's significance and how it ties to your thesis. Here's an example. So Mr. Miyazaki's specialty is taking a primal wish of kids, transporting them to a fantastical era, I think, and then marooning them there. No one else conjures the phantasmagoric and morality of dreams. That fascinating and frightening aspect of having something fearful seems to represent good become evil in the way that this master Japanese anime does. So I will send this. I'm sorry that my face is kind of blocking some of this, but I will send out this PowerPoint so you can look at it separate from this as well if you want to. Again, interpretation. What you don't want, here's a poor example, that character is a dragon disguised as a boy. I think that's a cool concept, and I like this character. That's not what we're looking for here. We're not looking for an evaluation. We're looking for an analysis. So here instead, the better one says, this character's unwarranted shifts of personality reflect what distinguishes Mr. Miyazaki from Disney or any other American animator. His movies are as much about moodiness as mood, and the prospect of animated figures is not being what they seem, either spiritually or physically, heightens the tension. Spirited Away deepens that character's uncertainty by not defining the characters that inhabit this spirit world in simple good guy, bad guy terms, making them capricious and unintentionally treacherous. This character complexity is what makes animated better than other forms of animation. So again, you can see there that that's a very specific analysis and a very specific interpretation that is arguable and does have really specifically details in there. So that's what you're looking for. Okay, thanks you guys. And then also, there's one more other thing for the works cited. You will need a works cited for the film or films that you're using. So here's what you want. You want to list films by their title, which should be italicized not only in the works cited, but also in the essay itself. You want to include the name of the director, the film studio or distributor, and the release year. If relevant, list the performer names after the director's name. And the performer names for animation are the voice actors. So here's how you can find that. Also, the works cited should be in their own page. And if you go to imdb.com and search for the film you're analyzing, all the information will be listed as far as who the director is, who the voice actors were, who distributed it, what year, all that kind of thing. So here's an example. You want works cited centered in the middle. Double spaced here with a hanging indent, which means no indent on the first one and indents on all the rest. We've got Speed Racer italicized with a period after it, directed by the two Wachowskis. Performances by, these are the actors, and then Warner Brothers is the distributor, and this is the year. So that's what you're looking for there.